Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Through this video, you can note down the question and answers of class 9th history lesson 1, the French Revolution, and the book is of Ncert. So I'm not explaining the question and answers over here, but I will stay on a particular question for more than 5 to 10 seconds so that you can pause the video and write down the question and answers. So the first question is describe the circumstances leading to the outbreak of revolution in France. This is an extremely important question and often comes as a 5 marker only. The next question is which groups of French society benefited from the revolution and which were forced to relinquish power? So the third estate benefited and the first and second estate were forced to relinquish power. That means to leave power. Explain the rise of Napoleon to power. I've given 4 points here, although the paragraph on Napoleon given in the book is very small, but this question has come in the exams, so I decided to include it. And in case you get this extra question, what is the result? What was the result of political instability during the days of Directory in France? So you will write the answer which is given in point number 2. Because of failure of Directory, Napoleon came to power. The next question, describe in brief the Reign of Terror. This is the time period when Maximilien Robespierre came to power, and this is again also a very important question, often comes as a 5 marker. So what changes were introduced by him? You have to write in this, and then later on he was guillotined also. The next question, explain the fall of Napoleon. Although all these causes are not given in the book, but again, this has come in various papers that I have seen. Next question, describe the condition of women in France during the old regime. How did the revolutionary government improve their lives? This is also an important question. In one set, they ask how was their condition, and sometimes in the other set they ask what changes were introduced by the revolutionary government that improved their lives. So this is about their condition, that they were not allowed to study after school and they were married quickly just after their schooling, and that too in case of rich families only. They took care of their families, and then the revolutionary government introduced some laws as per which schooling was made compulsory and their fathers could no longer force them to marry, etc. So all these points are there. So this is also important. Then this is a less important question. I've not seen it much. Slave trade in France meant the negation of principle of liberty. Explain the origins of slave trade and its abolition. So usually I do not see questions on slave trade, but it is a very big topic in the book, so it is better to go through it. And this is important. Who abolished slavery in France in French colonies? It was Convention. What were the consequences of French Revolution? A very important question again. Often asked in exams. Causes of French Revolution and consequences of French Revolution. Then what were the reasons for empty treasury of Louis XVI? This is the first portion of the lesson. That means the second page of the lesson has this reasons for empty treasury. This is also very important. Now you might be thinking that I have finished the lesson in 9 questions only, but that is not so. I'll just show you quickly first. There are some flowcharts that I've added. So as per rest of the lesson, I've included in the format of flowchart so that learning becomes easy. Otherwise, this lesson is very big. So let me show you. And remember one thing, wherever I have created flowcharts, you also create them. This is a new way of writing answers, and it gives a good impression to teachers, plus you get more marks also for writing the answer in a different way. So let us start with definitions first. Revolt, revolution, and what does a revolution lead to? Then comes these three estates. So you can be asked a question that describe the three estates that existed in French society. So you just create this flowchart and you're done. The next one, livre. It is a unit of currency, meaning of subsistence crisis. Then similarities between clergy and nobility. This is given in the next flowchart, number 7. So they both were exempted from paying taxes, enjoyed privileges by birth, and they could collect various taxes. Then point number 8, in case you are asked, what were the different types of taxes paid by the members of third estate? So these are the 4 types of taxes: tithe, tithe, indirect taxes, and feudal dues. Write it in flowchart form only. Do not write it in points. Let's learn to create flowcharts also. Then this point 9 is on subsistence crisis. Like you get explain subsistence crisis. Yeah, what happened during subsistence crisis? So how bad winter led to increase in prices, how bakers hoarded supplies which led, and wages were not rising as high as prices, as quickly as prices, and drought or hail further reduced harvest. All this led to subsistence crisis. Then economic scenario in France, how were the economic conditions of people in France? They were under heavy debt, heavy taxes had to be paid, prices of bread were very high, people were suffering from subsistence crisis. Point number 11 here, writings of enlightened philosophers. So there are 3 philosophers that are mentioned in the book. Jean-Jacques Rousseau, this is the correct pronunciation, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, then John Locke and Montesquieu. Which books they wrote and what did they propose? What was the main idea that they proposed in their books? So this is an important one. Often questions are asked individually on one of them. Like who wrote the book Two Treatises of Government? So you should know. Then Bastille, what was Bastille? You get questions on this also. Why was it like the storming? When did it happen? And why was it stormed? Then broken chains or red cap, these are the signs of freedom. This is also important. Then this is an important point mentioning that when National Assembly came into being, then Marseillaise, this is the national anthem of France, and the French pronunciation is Marseillaise. It was composed by the poet Roger de Lis. This is the French pronunciation, Roger de Lis. So where was it sung? Marseilles. What was the name? Who composed it? All this is important. Point number 15 is important. Then question 16th is on convention. Then Maximilian Robespierre, leader of Jacobean government. It comes as a 1 marker also, very, very important. Then what was directory? Then how and when women got voting rights, who was a Bessies, who was a lump de gauche. Point number 21 is also important. This is very, very important. The democratic rights that we enjoy today, the origins are in French Revolution. So which ones had their origin in French Revolution? Then 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th. And these are the last 2 points. Legacy is very, very important. Point number 29.